Hello everybody, welcome to another video for Mythic Draconis. This is a small playthrough from start to finish of the game. I'm going to continue right where we left off in the previous video. So in the last video we done Alperium. I've done a small rerun, and instead of 13 minutes, as you can see the timer at the top, instead of being at 13 minutes, it's down to 7 minutes, so it's 6 minutes shorter at this point than what it was actually on the last video. Again, you can find Mythic Draconis in the link in the description below. Head over and purchase your copy of Mythic Draconis today and have some fun in the epic lands of Atronum yourself. So heading over to the next level, we're going to go into Dread Bluff. We have finished the first level, now we're off into the Dread Bluff. As you can see, the main difference, the big difference that we have straight away is that when our character spawns, we actually have a shield there. This shield, the way it works, it protects you from one attack, and then when it breaks, it starts to, it has a small timer until it actually opens up again. As it's actually, down, it has downtime, your actual shield at the bottom, so it has a double kind of like utility, it has a bit of a defense and a utility kind of purpose to it as well. At the bottom we see that we have our shield. Our shields are at 50 right now, and now you'll notice that once I get hit, the shield goes off, and until it actually opens up again, our shield meter at the bottom is increasing. So that right there just gave us 35 points of shield. So we have like the shield of protection. Now we're gonna go once more and try it again, see once more the effect. So it protects us from one attack, and it actually increases, as it accumulates to get back up, it increases our actual shield at the bottom, which of course allows us to be able to block. As we block, we lose shield. There's certain attacks that break the shield even when we block, so it's very dynamic in certain things are going to affect it more. Meanwhile, some very small attacks, like this attack here, is very weak. It does nothing to us. It's just, it's just completely negated. So it really does depend sometimes on the attack itself. And then it charges up again. Let's drink a potion here. So, this was the second level that I actually designed. Actually, sorry, this is the first level that I actually designed, the Dread Bluff. So when I was first making my initial concept art for Mythic Draconis, this was the level that I was working on. I think I should have, some footage of the old version somewhere. It's been changed quite a bit, obviously, and even from the demo, there's been, a difference. There's been quite a change to quite a lot of the mechanics on the game, a lot of improvements, obviously. Obviously the demo was quite unfinished at the time. New enemy monster, new enemy type actually. He has homing fireballs or homing attacks. So we have a new attack type that has actually been introduced at that point right there. You're going to get a chance to see that enemy again in the future, this map. So we come up here. We can use this to jump up, again, portraying some of the things so people can know how to actually traverse. This is also in the options where we actually, where it talks about your controls. It's mentioned there that you can jump up on walls. Not all walls, of course. Some walls you can jump on them more, some others less. And here we have the first key for the first door to the progression of the level. Again, if you notice to the bottom right, we have the exclamation point, again indicating that if we press up, we have a small information here. This one is pretty straightforward. We need to break this in order to get the key and progress the stage. Again, I'm not showing any of the secrets or puzzles. I'm just showing what is required to actually complete the level. Oops. That jump was completely off. Once more, I'm playing on the arcade stick. It's probably a little bit harder on the arcade stick, if I'm being honest, but I think it's a lot more fun. I really enjoy playing on the arcade stick. I think we have one of those enemy types here. There we go. These fireballs chase you around. And at the same time, they can also be, they're a little bit weaker than the other straight fireballs. You can actually break them. And getting around them is very difficult. Obviously, you have to either break them or just, you know, get really far away. I mean, completely getting away from them is going to be very difficult. Like, you have to do something like that. But anyway, most likely just don't fool the enemy at that point. Once more, as you notice, I just picked up right there a health potion. As I mentioned in the previous video, the drops from the enemies is on rotation, and after a certain amount of kills, they give you a health potion as well, so that's another way of accumulating health potions. You got a life there. One thing that we need to kind of be a little bit aware of in our surroundings and, like, you know, our spatial awareness against a lot of enemies that are on ledges and stuff, you have to make sure that you don't actually hit the enemy while being on a ledge. Like, say if there's an enemy here, standing here for example, and I have to jump to it, you know, and if I hit the enemy, I'm going to get pushed back, and that will be an easy way for me to actually die, because it'll just, you know, throw me into, you know, into the gap. So you have to be very precise with a lot of your platforming in a lot of cases. Sometimes you might need to actually rethink of how you're going to approach a certain location, and maybe you want to go around from another position. Other times you just you know, need to really be careful about your spacing and how you're actually going to fall onto that specific ledge. This was the part that I actually had started out on my first actual level designing, was this ledge here coming down to here, and then you would fall down here. So all this part here is actually, you know, the original design, and then from here onward it's been changed and backwards. So yeah, a very small part is actually kept from my initial designs, but this was the first stage that I went for. As you can see, again, the art style, mostly Mythic Draconis, is kind of going for more kind of like chunky, larger pixel art, and it's a little bit more charming, I would say. It has something in between a dark gothic kind of realistic feel and color shade and palettes on it, but at the same time it does have that comical approach and art style to it. And it kind of reminds you a little bit of, let's say, Ghouls and Goblins or Ghosts and Goblins. So this is our first location where we have to, you know, use the key, the first point, the first checkpoint of in the stage. Obviously there's a secret down here, as you can probably imagine. That's part of a puzzle, which I obviously won't be revealing here. Let me just collect all these guys. Another health potion, perfect. Bridge crossing. We have our first mini boss. There's a couple of mini bosses throughout the progression of the game. got me. He almost died there, man. Come on, he had like one more hit of life left in him. Let's see. There you go. And as soon as he dies, he drops the key. There's the second key. If we look at the bottom, just picked up the second key. Most of the bosses, if I recall, I don't think there is any boss. Yeah, all the mini bosses, they're mandatory for the progression in the story mode. Another small hint here, it has been shown I think on the previous video. Again, we have a point here that we can slide through. This is another way of actually approaching the boss, with some parts here that are actually kind of part of another secret and part of the puzzle, the main puzzle. The symbol here on this door, as you can see, is the same symbol as the one that's on the bottom left, bottom far left of the screen, where our life is to the left. This is one of those cases where you have to be careful with your jump and make sure that, well, almost threw me off. See, for example, if I just jump across and keep pressing right, I would have landed here, you know, and that would have been prime position for me to actually get pushed, like, you know, really far off into the opening below. But if you know, control your jump, like, you know, you let go sooner, you can actually control it and land just before. You can even time it to be right on the edge. So there is some more tight platforming in certain situations. Just be careful. You know, in some stages you can really catch you off guard just when you don't expect it. You know, they can, the enemy will throw you to your death, and it's not just, you know, it's not just some extra damage, and you lose an entire life in those cases, because falling into the void below, you just lose a life straight away. We have like an enemy type here, the brute. He's kind of like a tank. He does need a couple of hits to actually get hit. Give me life. And that's pretty much the second stage. The Dread Bluff. You can climb on these vines. You can climb on these too, yep. And that's pretty much it. Again, trying to go for a little bit of a dark kind of look, and it's got a bit of a primal feel to this level design here. Something else of note, you'll notice at the top it says the crossing. If it hasn't been already noticed already from before, at the top where we have the naming of each location, at the top says the crossing right now, that is like a checkpoint. So at every portion of the map there's like a small checkpoint that you change into, and what happens is that when you die, you actually, you know, you respawn at the beginning of that checkpoint. So this area is the crossing, and this one here is the bridge. So this area here is the bridge, is the boss area, is the previous area. So if I die here now, I'll get, you know, I'll spawn at the beginning of this area, and then as you can see here, we have the crossing. This is the next area. So this is the last part of the Dread Bluff. So each location is kind of split up into its own little parts, and that also serves in a form of kind of like checkpoint system. When you die, you don't go to the beginning of the stage, obviously. And that's the end of the Dread Bluff. Now here we have a level that we don't actually have access to from the story mode. So you can't find this place if you don't go through, if you don't just go straight to it. and this is the Nexus. And if we follow the story, this is the next part that we're gonna go. This is our first big boss that we actually fight in the game. There's 3 main bosses, and we have 3 mini bosses as well. So you don't see this on the actual encampment. It's not one of the stages that you can actually access. So on the actual the encampment, the levels that you actually can go into there's 3 more beyond that. One of those is the Nexus gate right here. The next one is the Demon Room, and the last one is Cavern Draconis. However, you can still save here. So if I go here and I go save and exit, and get out of that. If I go back to load game, and this was a story game, so you can have 2 saves, one for arcade and one for story mode. If I go back to story mode now, it's actually going to pick up right where I left off, and it's going to put me into the Nexus. So you can still save at this point here, and you can still use this as an interval. You don't have to do both levels back to back, the Dread Bluff and the Nexus, in order to be able to get to a saving point again. When you save, you're saving at the beginning, there's a beginning state on the game on each level, and as soon as you get into that level, that beginning state is actually kept in memory. If you save and exit, it holds onto that specific interval. So you can save at the beginning, the most advised position to save is at the beginning of a level. Your encampment, of course, once you save on your encampment, it keeps all the information that you have actually done on the encampment, and then you continue from that point onwards. Now, if you need to leave at some point and you're halfway through a level or whatnot, you can save it in the middle of the level, but when you're going to reload it again, you're going to kind of spawn in at the beginning of the level at that point and play that portion again. So that's pretty much how the save mode works. We'll do another save and exit here, why not? And yeah, that's pretty much it for the second video. That was the second level, the Dread Bluff. As always, you can find your own copy to Mythic Draconis in the link in the description below. I hope you guys enjoyed that little installment of the second level to Mythic Draconis, and I'll see you on the next one.